I recently had a request to do a podcast about podcasting, which I thought was an interesting concept and certainly would be a challenge. So that's what I'm going to try to do today, is to show you how to podcast using GarageBand. So we're going to go ahead and open GarageBand. A podcast can be just audio, or you can also include pictures as well. If you're going to include pictures, be sure that those pictures are loaded in iPhoto before you start the podcasting process in GarageBand, because it makes it easy to access those pictures. So once the menu opens up, we're going to choose Podcast, and we'll just call it Podcasting, and we'll save it in GarageBand folder. That's fine. Hit Create. Now while this opens, a couple things about podcasts. One is they have to be episodic. There have to be episodes in order for it to be a podcast. If it's a one-time upload, it's probably just digital storytelling. But if it's episodic, then it becomes a podcast. It can be weekly, it can be monthly, it can be every quarter, whatever you'd like it to be, but there should be episodes. The second piece is that you should be able to subscribe to it using an RSS feed. Our school district uses an Apple server which provides an RSS feed for us, but you could also put the file on a blog which has an RSS feed, or a wiki space which you can subscribe to. Something that can be subscribed to that automatically makes it a podcast. Also, podcasts typically I try to make around 5 minutes. This is going to be a little bit longer than that because there is a lot of material to cover. So now that we're in GarageBand, if you look at the top, you see a podcasting track. This is where you would drop any photos or artwork. Male voice or female voice, this is where you're going to record your voice. And Jingles allows you to add some music or some opening music. So that's one of the things that I like to do, is to open with some music. So I'm going to start with a picture for Text Tips podcast that I use. And you'll see the dark line there shows you where you're going to drop. I'm going to drop at the very beginning. Drops in. And now I'm going to add a jingle. So if I use the I, it's going to offer me jingles here. I'm going to hit all, and you can scroll through these and listen to different ones that you would like to. I like to use something relatively short at the beginning because I don't want to make it any longer than I have to. If you click on any of these, you will also be able to get a short sound or sample. So I'm going to use that one, and all I do is I'm going to click and drag it to Jingles. Again, you get the dark line to show you where you're going to drop it. I'm going to drop it at the beginning. And so now I have an intro slide and an intro jingle. If you notice, you see that this is a little bit cut off. So if we change to this podcast track, you'll see that it's a little bit cut off. If I double click on this, I can then adjust where I want that to go. I can make it bigger or smaller. I want that whole thing. So I'm going to adjust that and hit set. And there we go. Now you can see the whole thing. So I'm going to go back to my media button. And I'm just going to do a short demo of a This Day in History podcast. Maybe something you could do with your students. I'll make mine a little bit shorter. And I'm going to suggest that you start with your recording of your voice and also record in chunks. If you record one big long recording, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to find where you should drop your pictures. It's going to be a lot easier if you record in small chunks, and then you can drop the pictures in where they belong. So I'm going to click on male voice to record, move my playhead out to the end of where the song was, because that's where I want to start recording. And I'm going to use the record button to start recording, and I'm going to use the space bar to stop. So record button to start, space bar to stop. On October 6th, 1971, I was born in the city of Harrisburg in the state of Pennsylvania. Space bars to stop, and now I have the chunk that I can match up the picture when I'm ready for that. Okay, record. In 1989, I meant to say 1889 there, so I did that so I can show you how to delete easily and start over. If you notice as I click on these, they get dark purple. The dark purple is the one that I want to delete because I messed up the date. So I just click on the dark purple, hit delete, it's gone. I can bring the playhead back and start over. In the year 1889, Thomas Edison shows his first motion picture. If you think about where we are today with motion pictures with the recent awards for Avatar, you can understand why this is such an important date. Stop. And I'm going to record my last chunk today. In 1945, Billy Sianis and his pet Billy Goat are ejected from Wrigley Field during the World Series. This started what is known as the curse of the Billy Goat for the Chicago Cubs. They have not been back to the World Series since this event. I'm going to stop there. You can continue to record as much as you'd like, but I'm going to stop there. And we're going to look at how we're going to drop in pictures. So the reason I recorded in chunks is so I knew exactly where to drop my pictures. The first picture was about me being born. So I'm going to drop that right here at the beginning. And it automatically adjusts. The next was about Thomas Edison. So I'm going to drop that right where the Thomas Edison piece starts. And the last was about the curse of the Billy Goat, which I'm going to drop right there. Now you notice the picture goes beyond where the recording. Simple to adjust. If you go to the end, you'll see the two arrows. You just drag that back, and there it is. Now we saw the picture before cut off, and again it gets cut off, so we want to double click down here, and we can adjust that to fit in and hit set. This one, you'll notice again that his head is cut off there, so we want to make sure we get all of his picture set. And again, adjust that picture and set. So if we go back to our podcasting track here, we can rewind all the way, and if we hit play, we can get a preview. And once I start the play, if I hit this, it will also show me what the pictures look like as well. So I can see how this is going to look while it's playing. On October 6th, 1971, I was born in the city of Harrisburg in the state of Pennsylvania. In the year So we're not going to watch that whole thing, but you can see the preview and make any adjustments that you need to make. So now that we're done, we're going to share this out as a file to upload wherever we choose to upload. So we're going to go to Share, Send Podcast to iTunes, and it's going to create an iTunes playlist where all of your podcasts will go. So I'll just call mine Podcast Playlist. And you want to make sure if you use pictures and it doesn't automatically go to the AAC encoder, you want to make sure that you choose that. MP3 will only give you audio. You need AAC if you have used pictures. Mine automatically went there. If yours doesn't, make sure that you change that. And we're going to click Share. And when we do that, to automatically open iTunes, and it's going to convert it and put it right into that playlist that we labeled Podcast Playlist. So you notice So we're just going to pause it so I can talk. It's now in there, and down here you see the preview window. Again, you can open or close that preview window, and as we play it, if we click this, we get a much bigger preview, and we can watch what it looks like. We already saw some of this in GarageBand, so we're not going to play that at this point. Easy, you can then drag this out onto your desktop, a M4A file, and then you can take that file, and I would upload it to our Apple server, or you could upload it to your blog, or you could upload it wherever you choose to upload it. So I don't want to go too much longer. We're at about 10 minutes now. I'm hopeful that this gives you an idea of how to podcast, how easy and quick it can be, and that hopefully you'll give it a shot and use it in your classroom.